So a while back, we dedicated an entire segment to a deep dive on the Acolyte fan fiction. A lot of fan fiction about a romance between Camille, played by Manny Jacinto, and Osha, played by Amanda Stenberg, and we were doing a little live reading of some of those enemies to lovers fan fictions written by lonely women across the world. And it was traumatizing. It left me scarred for life.
Video didn't even do that well. That was the sad part.
No.
Like, people didn't realize what you sacrificed to have to do that.
It was all for nothing. And there's a lot more fan fiction, actually, dedicated to REYLO, which is the ship name for Rey and, what is his name? Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren. Yeah, so they're heavily shipped online. And back in 2018... an anonymous author who went by, at the time, Ever So REYLO, wrote a fan fiction about them called Head Over Feet, which has now been picked up, first off turned into a mainstream, trashy airport romance novel, and now adapted into a film.
This has to be a streaming film, right? There's no way this
I'm
goes
guessing
to
it will
be a streaming
like
film.
a Netflix movie, because this author has also, I think, penned a different novel that was adapted into a Netflix film. So they have now announced the casting who will play these characters that are based on Kylo Ren and Daisy Ridley's Rey. It's played by... Kylo Ren's character is played by Daisy Ridley's real-life husband, Tom Bateman, who looks surprisingly a lot like her.
Is he related to Justine Bateman and Patrick Bateman?
Not Patrick Bateman. No, I don't think he's related to
the
Justine
Ozark
Bateman.
dude, yeah.
No, but yeah, Tom Bateman.
Patrick Bateman.
Tom Bateman has been announced to star in the film adaptation
Jason
of
Bateman. I'm sorry, Jason Bateman.
The Love Hypothesis, originally published as a REYLO fan fiction. So this is quite surreal. And then Lily Reinhart is going to be playing the female protagonist, who is based on Rey.
Why are his eyes wide open? I want to know.
Because she's kissing him by surprise. We'll get into the plot here.
There's Lily Reinhart.
Yes, she's holding the book on set. And they also posted this TikTok. Hotshot professor who agrees to a fake relationship. Do you have this? And then third-year PhD student looking for a fake relationship. That's the synopsis of the plot here.
Yeah.
But I found it on Amazon, and apparently this is a New York Times bestseller and TikTok sensation.
I mean, it's right up there with Minotaur Milking Farm.
Yeah, it's all the same stuff. These trashy romance novels that women are reading in the millions. When a fake relationship between scientists meets the irresistible force of attraction, it throws one woman's carefully calculated theories on love into chaos. As a third-year PhD candidate, Olive Smith, this is based on Rey, doesn't believe in lasting romantic relationships, but her best friend An does, and that's what got her into this situation. Convincing An that Olive is dating and well on her way to a happily ever after was always going to take more than hand-wave Jedi mind tricks. Scientists require proof. So like any self-respecting biologist, Olive panics and kisses the first man she sees. Hence the book cover.
Not related to Justine Bateman or to
no, just the same name.
He's from the UK, so
that man is none other than Adam Carlson, who is based on Adam Driver's portrayal of Kylo Ren, a young hotshot professor and a well-known ass, which is why Olive is positively floored when Stanford's reigning lab tyrant agrees to keep her charade a secret and be her fake boyfriend. But when a big science conference goes haywire, putting Olive's career on the Bunsen burner, Adam surprises her again with his unyielding support and even more unyielding six-pack abs. Suddenly, their little experiment feels dangerously close to combustion, and Olive discovers that the only thing more complicated than a hypothesis on love is putting her own heart under the microscope.
People in the comment section are taking this very seriously. Someone says she better not ruin Olive, or I'm starting a petition to cast literally anyone else.
I didn't know there was some dedicated fan base around this REYLO inspired.
Oh yeah.
Romance novel. Like, who are these people? There are so many lonely women out there. And the author's name is actually Allie Hazelwood, but at the time that she originally wrote the fan fiction in 2018, she was still going by Ever So REYLO. And I found the PDF. It's everything you would expect and more. Here are the tags: alternate universe, academia, fake pretend relationship, teacher-student relationship, miscommunication, misunderstandings, jealousy, emotional hurt, emotional comfort, mutual pining, emotional constipation, explicit sexual content.
You know what happened is Pretty Little Liars happened, and they had that grooming ass relationship from that show, and you end up with people that like this stuff.
So here is the summary for Head Over Feet. This is a little excerpt from the novel.
Yeah.
Is it working for you? Maybe it comes out a little needy, but Ray tells herself that it's only because of how low she has to pitch her voice to talk to him. Or do you maybe want to fake break up? He doesn't answer for a second. Then, just as Dr. Phasma takes the mic to thank the speaker and ask the audience if anyone has questions, Ray hears him say, No, I don't want to fake break up. They're not dating for real, right?
Look, I fully admit that this is probably weirder even for you, because as a guy, this is so far outside the experience of anything that I could even deem mildly interesting. But women are probably more prone to finding something interesting in this type of storytelling. I see something like this and I'm like, what the hell is wrong with people?
Well, it's also badly written. Just in that excerpt that I read out loud.
Yeah.
There were multiple grammatical errors that could have been addressed.
I would actually subscribe to a channel of you berating bad writing in this type of literature.
Yeah, Grammar Nazi with Mary Morgan.
Yes. I would watch that.
I'm shocked and appalled constantly at how illiterate people are. This is just one example. But yeah, this is not a new thing. Fan fictions have been adapted into romance novels and films for a very long time.
What are the ones that we've talked about recently? We talked about the Anne Hathaway one.
That was The Idea of You starring Anne Hathaway, and it was inspired by a Harry Styles fan fiction. There was another movie called After, I believe, which was also adapted from a One Direction fan fiction. Most notoriously, 50 Shades of Grey was inspired by a Twilight fan fiction surrounding BDSM themes. Once considered a frivolous endeavor undertaken by sex-obsessed amateurs, fan fiction is now fully in fashion, enabling romance writers and their publishers to celebrate and capitalize on their own archive of our own roots. That was the original place where she self-published the story. So, yeah, there are countless examples of this happening, and I understand why Hollywood has jumped on the opportunity, because if it already has a cult audience...
Especially for streaming.
You might as well.
You don't have to expect large swaths of the audience to come out to the theater for it like they did for Twilight or for 50 Shades of Grey. But for, a streaming movie, the ladies will put this on a Friday night with a, glass of boxed wine.
She actually never even had to pitch her story to publishers. A publishing agent approached her and said, hey, I love your REYLO fan fiction. Would you mind rewriting it with different names so that we don't get copyright violations?
What if she was like, no?
From Disney?
What if she became all artsy and was like, I will not?
Well, she went through the work of rewriting the book in new character names, and now it's being adapted with Daisy Ridley's real life husband. Honestly, if I were Daisy Ridley, I would want to play the love interest.
Yeah,
kicks,
I'll never forget that Kumail Nanjiani made a movie about his story about falling in love with his wife and played himself while somebody else played his wife.
REYLO, that was like the subject of a lot of mockery, right?
Yes. Well, yeah, it was weird. I mean, I'm not a big Star Wars guy, but even I saw the amount of people that were talking about the REYLOs being weird.
I mean, of course they
because
are.
it's abusive. And
Is it?
well, in a lot of ways, yeah, because he's trying to kill her in the previous movies. And
I know I watched it, but I have no recollection of.
But the point is it's exactly the type of weirdos. Like, actually, never mind. I'll get in trouble for that take. I'll put a pin in that one. But the point being that type of stuff feels like right in line with the type of people who are into like new Disney Star Wars.
Yeah.
Who are not Star Wars traditionalists. You know?
Yeah, it's
like I imagine that, you know, after reading their REYLO fan fiction, they checked out Swingers on Main.
I just don't get it, because you're taking these characters from the Star Wars universe and just plucking their names out and putting it into an alternate universe that has nothing to do with the story they originated in. Like, what's the point of it being related to Star Wars then? You know? Like, why does the connection to Star Wars matter?
Like this doesn't matter. This is just they thought that the fan fiction was decently written for a pulp audience.
But the fan fiction has zero element of sci-fi. It's literally just characters that are based on.
It doesn't have anything to do with
Kylo Ren and Rey.
It doesn't have anything to do with it. They don't. The men care about the sci-fi element. The women care about the relationship element.
Yeah, so I'm guessing you could pull in a larger audience by keeping the sci-fi element if it didn't violate Disney's IP, but
well, also if they're gonna do this, like, yeah, we're gonna delete the sci-fi element because we can't afford it for the movie.
Since you mentioned the REYLOs being weird for romanticizing an abusive relationship, that is the through line for all of these erotica, romance novels, fan fictions, all of them, including, I would say, It Ends With Us as well. It's romanticizing abuse and also the unfair, imbalanced power dynamics that these same hardline feminists are constantly railing against, because they have to have an outlet somewhere for their desire to be with masculine men.
Because they've been told that masculine men are bad, so the only way to do that is to go into the forbidden area of abusive men, where it's just seen as fantasy rather than reality. Right.
They have to have a place where they can actually engage with these taboos that they claim to be so against in public. I agree with the theory that was posited in EV magazine when we were talking about the Morning Glory Milking Farm erotica novel. It's very clear that that's what's happening psychologically for these women, and it's really sad too. Like, you know, you're a porn addict and you're trying to act like this is a genuine hobby of yours. These are also like not just single women but married women,
but a lot of them
consuming this material.
A lot of them also probably view traditionally masculine conservative men as abusive in a different way, just not in, you know, in whatever way of him expecting you to be home taking care of the kids. They find that to be more abusive than the idea of possible physical or emotional abuse from someone. So one's just a sexually gratifying version of abuse to them. The other one is just a different type of abuse.
It's just really ironic that they can't integrate their sexual preferences and their romantic preferences.
Well, how many times have we seen stories of feminists who say they won't date feminist men? Like, that's become a meme at this point, where they freely admit that they're not interested in the type of men they're trying to actually integrate into society.
They're looking for that mythical creature of a man.
It's the Bo Burnham thing that I said. He's got to be a feminist who also wants to pay for dinner.
Right.
Right. It makes no sense. It doesn't actually comport with reality, but that's not the point. Most of the time, human beings are more complex than that, and a lot of times you do have desires and wants that run contrary to one another. It's actually not all that crazy of an idea because people are not so linear.
Sure, I understand that.
I mean, it's still hypocritical.
This is an extreme.
Yes, exactly.
Extent of that, and you know, then you're left with your last resort, which is reading REYLO fan fiction.
They're like,
movie.
I preached feminism until I woke up with Morning Glory Milking Farm, and what did I say? Minotaur Milking Farm, same thing.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.